Hello, and welcome back to Chronically Joyful. Today, you're joining me in my kitchen while I work to prep dinner, meal prep lunches for the week, and take a moment today to talk about the beauties of nervous system regulation. So, grab a hot tea or a cold tea because it was almost 90 degrees today where I live, so ergo, get a bevy of your choice and have a seat. And let's talk about nervous system regulation. I toyed around on the camera angle for this, and I feel like the food that I'm prepping is way more interesting than my face. You guys get to see my face all the time. So bear with my janky setup as we dive into today's topic. So, the reason that I actually wanted to talk about nervous system regulation is just simply for the fact of how I am feeling today in comparison to even a year ago, where I avoided an emergency where I make the same meal every Monday. I look forward to it every Monday. It's been this way for over a year, and I will show you exactly what that meal is at the end of this prep period. However, I just realized I meant to quarter this onion and I diced it. Oh my God, do I do bloopers? All right, starting with a new onion. Thank God that I just picked some of these up. But I will show all of you fine people the meal that I am currently making at the end of this video. So, what is nervous system regulation? It's a hot, trending topic on the internet right now that everybody is gabbing about on how it has changed their lives, how breath work has transformed their existence, their environment, everything in between. But really, at the end of the day, what is nervous system regulation? It sounds way more complicated than it actually is. Basically, the short of it is that we have the ability innately within ourselves, and I will actually look at you for this part because I'm very distracted at the moment, featuring the little Christmas ornament that my lovely 2-year-old nephew got me. But basically all that this concept is just learning how to have an emotionally impactful situation happen to you and not immediately explode and react and have it ruin the rest of your day. So, how I personally like to practice this is through meditation, which I have not meditated in a minute. I plan to do that tonight after I get this in the oven. Journaling, and honestly, just sometimes sitting in silence and trying not to think at all. Not in a meditative way, I just kind of zone out. I'll listen to music, orchestrations, Howard Shore radio on Pandora because duh. But just being in my own space, my own calm energy, and just feeling what that feels like in my body so that I know how to get back here. And the reason that this topic came up today was as I was running out to grab potatoes because I realized I was out, and that is just absolutely unacceptable for this Monday meal. This is important. I was just driving with the windows down with my music playing and just living my best life. And I was thinking about 2024 specifically, which I had mentioned in a prior video before, how hard that year was, how honestly traumatically tragic it was for so many people close to me. It was not a great year. And just seeing where I am now and the person that I am now and am continuing to flourish and become as time goes on, where I used to always say, I want to have the it factor. I just want to be super cool as a cucumber all the time. How do people do that in their lives? Like, I was so emotionally overreactive all the time, no matter what the situation was, that I was always just like, I wish I was calm, cool, and collected and could like deal with things as they come without reacting. And like said that for like over a decade. And I'm really proud to say and admit now that that is exactly where I am. You're getting Puddles Cam a little bit early in real time because this is just tomfoolery. She's living her best life down there. But I'm proud to say that I actually am this person now. where I do process emotions slowly. I'm a processor, so like I'll sit with something for a while and then I'll come back and be like, hey, this is actually how I feel about it. My manager gave me a great compliment the other day by saying that I'm incredibly self-aware. So like, I want to say it was last week, but honestly, time is broken for me again, as per usual. But I was in a very intense meeting where I felt really disregarded and like I didn't feel great afterwards, basically. And like after we walked out of the room, I looked at her and I was really reactive and I was just like, I need to sit down and I need role clarity on XYZ because like I feel like this and I need to go home. And the next day when I saw her, I was just like, hey, I'm really sorry that I was really reactive in the moment. It took me a minute to like realize what was happening, how I was reacting. So I apologize. And I think I'm going to take this as a note and I will do better next time. And she was just like, wow, thanks for being super self-aware. It was a great compliment. But it's so much less taxing on your emotional, mental, physical energy, especially having a chronic illness, when you're able to kind of just like, I guess, roll with the punches in the moment, but not be like, oh God, that sucks. Instead, you're just rolling with the punches and you're like, okay, hello, yes, I will take your call later when I'm a little bit more grounded. And just taking 5 seconds and taking that deep breath before actually being reactive and responding, it's made a huge difference across my entire life so far, where I tried to start a trend where a really good friend of mine who also has MS, shout out to you, Lenora, recommended this like fire breathing meditation that I have bookmarked. And I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. This is going to make me feel so good and regulate my nervous system. I haven't started like seriously doing it. And it's been like 2 months. I'm so sorry, Lenora, but it's in my inbox and I have it. It's just like when I meditate, I don't want to listen to anything. I actually, instead of focusing on my breath these days, I've got a really loud wall clock and I just focus on the sound of the ticking until I'm finally just like in that state. But it has helped me tremendously across every facet of my life. My working relationships, my friendships, my relationship with myself, everything and in between has just tremendously improved and continues to show improvements. And it is just so important, especially having multiple sclerosis. I haven't felt symptomatic in a really long time. I haven't had to use my mobility aids. I don't really have symptoms that often anymore. I'm just calm. And when I do have symptoms, I notice them more now, where I'm just like, oh. I call them my evening gloves. When I get pain from like my fingy tips all the way up to about here, I'm like, oh, I'm wearing my evening gloves. Where I break out the magnesium spray. He makes a comeback in this video too. But it's just like I notice it and I'm like, okay, like something is off in my equilibrium, equanimity, whatever you want to call it. I need to chill out. And that helps me inform my future decisions. So like if a friend calls me that night and is like, let's hang out and go out on the town, like my answer is probably going to be a soft no, just because that is telling me that I need to go inward and be within my own energy. So we're going to switch back to the vegetables now. Okay, I actually quartered the onion like I was supposed to in the first place. So we're back on track. And I'm a little bit behind because I had to run to the grocery store to pick up potatoes because I was out and I didn't realize I was out. Now it's 6:42 and this meal takes an hour. So the odds of Catherine snacking on shredded Parmesan in the interim is ever increasing. I lost like 90% of those onions. Whoopsie. Okay, so how to put practices in place for nervous system regulation. It sounds more complicated than it actually is, I promise, because I, for many, many years, was the type of person that I could not sit still with my own thoughts and be comfortable, and like I would constantly try and then I'd fall asleep and then I would just start thinking about all of the things that went wrong that day, and then it just turned into a cycle of sad doom, basically. But in my love of the law of attraction, the law of assumption, all of that hunky-dory stuff. Call it woo-woo if you will. I do not care what terms folks use these days. I'm just living my best life over here. But just that innate belief that everything works out exactly as it should and is going to be fine has led me here, where I'm so grateful to be here every single day. And my health, specifically over the last 2 years, has improved tremendously to a degree that not even I was prepared for. In the best way. Like, I'm not standing over here chopping potatoes being like, oh my God, I'm so misfortunate because my health just improved so much. Like, no, that's insane. It's just I'm noticing so much more within myself. This feels threatening too. But taking the time to be in stillness and silence and within my own personal energy, and actually knowing what that feels like now, and knowing exactly what my baseline looks like, feels like, and everything in between, it helps me realize significantly faster when I'm out of equilibrium. And then depending on what I'm experiencing. So like if I'm having an influx of MS symptoms and I'm in a lot of pain, I'm struggling to make sentences happen. I am struggling a little bit to speak in this moment just because today has been very long and I have not slept in about 3 days. But just noticing things that are off. They are not my normal, but also now feeling well equipped enough to know what to do about it, as opposed to just being like, oh my God, I feel awful right now. What am I supposed to do about this? Or even worse, I am guilty of having numbed for a majority of my life to try and have a little bit of an escape from circumstances that I was facing, as opposed to actually managing them and facing them head on. I work really hard now to try not to do that. And it's not easy, especially living alone where no one is around to be like, are you sure that's the choice you want to be making on a Tuesday night when you got to get up and like go to work tomorrow? I don't have that. So now it's just me being like, okay, I'm left to my own devices. Let's make good choices. And I will be very honest and transparent with the people that are spending time with me in the kitchen today and say that I have not been making the best choices in my personal life. But again, violently self-aware. So I am taking steps to make that better, literally as we speak. But it is just one of these beautiful gifts in life to feel not in control. I don't believe that we ever have a real control over our lives. We can control our choices and the things that we personally do, feel, say, all of that. Yes, that is within our control. Everything else, not so much. Life is bananas and the unexpected happens at every turn. Relentlessly. Like it is just a constant rigmarole of beauty, misfortune, everything in between that you could possibly think of, and there's no way to effectively plan for any of it. It would be almost impossible at the end of the day. So, in the fact that we are able to control our responses, our emotions, our feelings, most of the time. Granted, of course, no one's perfect, and we can react to external circumstances. I am not saying that I'm perfect and that I don't. It's just I'm significantly faster at being like, where is this emotion coming from? Is it coming from me? Is it because something happened? And if it is because something happened outside of me, I then pivot. And I'm like, okay, no one else on planet Earth has the ability to affect my mood except for me. And in those moments, I have learned and am learning, I'm not perfect by any means at this, to take my power back and be like, oh, this person's actions just really upset me. And then taking that pause and that deep breath and just closing my eyes and being like, why? What is it saying about me that it upset me? What still isn't healed within myself? And 90% of the time, it is my old insecurities creeping up on me and being like, ooh, that happened because you're not enough. And what I say to those insecurities is, pish posh, go to sleep. You don't own me anymore. You are not in control of my life. Ergo, be gone. Wild insecurities. Nobody wants to hear from you. And then I just carry on with my day in peace. And then I'll probably meditate on it later and then probably journal about it and unpack it a little bit and be like, okay, so what in that circumstance made me feel insecure? Like, why was that the first gut reaction that I had as opposed to something else that would have felt way better? I'm currently learning about Abraham Hicks for anyone that is familiar with her work. And it's been very interesting. And basically how it's framed in that context is just like the vortex that we all live in when things are really good and we're feeling really good. She says tapped in, tuned in, turned on. When we're feeling like that, we're in the vortex. Things are hunky-dory. Everything's going really well. And then better things continue to attract towards us. That is kind of the MO I am currently building what I'm calling the cat empire around, where it's just like everything starts within. So why would I make my life not super spectacularly, amazingly awesome all the time? Where even in negative circumstances and situations, of course I have emotional EQ enough to know if I'm going to a funeral, I'm not going to be flitting around just like, it's fine, life's a gift. Like, no, have situational emotional EQ and social awareness. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But anyone that knows me personally knows that my natural state of being is just like, nice. Like, I'm a peppy, positive human being. And it honestly, I think that it has saved my life more times than I can count at this point. And it's only getting better because now I'm aware of this part of me, and it's something that I just want to continue to grow. One of my most favorite things to talk about on this channel also is the fact that while you're emotionally regulating and paying attention to how you are responding to things, increasing emotional social EQ, all of that fun stuff that I literally just talked about, there is never a moment in any of this where I'm going to look at all of you in this miraculous weird light that's happening with this camera and ever tell you to shove it down. Like, if you're feeling something negative, notice it, feel it fully, feel it hard. Feelings make the world go round. They are the compass within us that are telling us like yes or no. And I'm now in a phase where if something is not a hard, concrete yes, it's probably a no. And I follow my intuition, my gut, my heart, whatever you want to call it. And it's led me into such a beautiful, positive trajectory that I can never say anything against it. But feel the feelings, sit with them, and then process them out. Let them go. Let it flow. Something I've learned in this journey is that the art of letting go is what really makes a difference. Where I was clinging and holding on to certain things in my life so tightly that it was suffocating the things I was holding on to. The people, the places, the jobs, like all of the things that I was just like, I need this because of XYZ reasons, which usually were coming from a place of insecurity, if we're being honest. And I've learned to just let go. And letting go doesn't mean that you don't care, because I still care a lot. I care so much. But in letting it go, that person, place, thing has opportunity also to grow, expand, and fly. And this is a term that a lot of people are like, oh, it's so woo-woo. But like, if it's meant for you, it will find you. And some of the relationships that I was like holding on to for dear life that I let go of, they're so much healthier now. They're so much better. They're just in a different place that just feels better. So it's like, it's okay. You're safe to let it go. And I just went on a huge tangent with the emotional regulation, but let's rosemary this chicken. All right, party people, we're ready for the toaster oven. Tonight is chicken thighs, bone in, skin on, with potatoes, onions, and garlic with salt and rosemary. So we will see what that looks like when it's done. Okay, I lied to you all. I'm not going to take you with me as I meal prep because I'm not going to have enough to say to you when I'm doing that, and it's going to take me a hot minute. So let's fully focus on each other. But really, at the end of the day, whatever practice works for you to emotionally regulate and just learn what your energy actually feels like, because I am now so familiarized with myself that when I'm feeling out of equilibrium for no apparent reason, I know I'm picking up something else from somewhere. I think it was 2 weeks ago I came on here and I was talking about my insane, deep anxiety that, like, I don't get anxious like that anymore very often, and it was almost crippling for 2 whole days. I never figured out what that was, but I know it wasn't from me. So it's just like those weird moments where, like, if I'm at work and there's a lot of energy happening in one space, I'm really susceptible to just kind of like sponge out and like absorb all of that, which will affect my moods and everything in between. So now that I'm aware of that, I can kind of do my best to put like blocks, barriers, whatever, betwixt me and whatever else is around me that is influencing me to come out of my happy little vortex of joy. But learning emotional regulation in whatever facet you enjoy, whether that's journaling, sitting alone with a beautiful song, walking outside, honestly, is also another good one that I really enjoy. It just kind of like resets me, especially if it's hot and it gets sweaty and then I want to take a nap. But just like learning what things that you personally can do for yourself to actually make life a little bit calmer, easier, more pleasurable. I'm doing weird practices now where I'm trying to make everything romanticized or sensual. So like I was mowing my lawn and I was like, how can I make this kind of sensual and romantic? And I just ended up scream laughing, and like it was not sensual by any means whatsoever, but it just I started laughing and it was really fun. I'm that crazy neighbor that people drive by and they're like, oh, she's laughing again and she's wearing dragon pants. It's being in the vortex is a really beautiful thing, and I personally think this specific practice of mine of being emotionally aware and learning how to regulate that emotional state has literally saved my life. And I have never felt better since I started these practices. And as I learn more and I get more serious about it, I know only good things are going to come. So if you have any practices like this that work really well for you, I would love to hear from you in the comments. My witchy people, like, tell me what brand of incense you buy that just clears your mental energy. Please, Lord, somebody share something with me in the comments. I'm dying to know. But that is all I had for you today. Thank you for weirdly cooking dinner with me in my kitchen with a really weird camera angle. I do have something on the way that I think is going to be very exciting for everyone that actually watches these. We're going to be able to do stroll and ponders again, but outside, so you won't have to watch me fall off the walking pad again. But thank you so much for spending your Thursday with me today as I chatted through some of at least the things that I think have tremendously positively impacted my medical journey, my mental health, everything in my life has taken a step up in the right direction because of emotional self-regulation and nervous system regulation. And all of those fancy buzzword terms going around the internet right now. The light in me sees the light in you. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care, everyone. So in the midst of all the good smells in this house right now and the cooking, this good girl has just been manning the fort in Mommy's spot and keeping it warm. Thank you, Puddles. Thank you, Puddles. She's so unamused. We love you.